Do you want to answer the questions that are in the room? All right, so once again, we're going to start with Renee. We'll work our way back. And Renee, as a judge, I have this question for you. How do you handle pressure from public opinion, the media, or political entities when making decisions? And you have 90 seconds.
So the job of a judge is not to consider any of that. The job of a judge is to follow the law and not be pressured by any outside force. I think in my career, for the last 33 years, I've had many cases that have come before the media. I have always done my job the way my job should have been done. I'm not influenced or pressured by those outside forces. And it's so important for a judge to isolate and be that person that knows the most about the case, knows the most about the law, and does the right things based on the law, not based on public opinion or public pressure. That's not the job. So I have been an advocate for 33 years, and now I'm ready for another job, and that job is to be that person, that judge, who looks at all sides of the issue and follows the law in a fair and just and well-reasoned way.
Thank you, Renee Rose. Next up, Sharon Ransom. So the question is, how do you handle pressure from public opinion, the media, or political entities when making decisions? 90 seconds.
Thank you. I would have to agree with a lot of what Renee just said. Being a judge, you have to have thick skin because not all of the litigants will like you. Not all of them will be respectful. You can't give in to political pressure or from the media or from anyone. Judges take an oath to follow the law. And as a judge, that's what I would do, follow the law. I wouldn't give in. I don't give in to pressures now. I'm an adult. I don't let anyone make me do anything I don't want to do. Whatever I do has to sit right, sit well with me. And that is, again, following the law, the oath that we take, and using discretion without any influence from anyone, any entity, any particular person. And that's, the kind of judge I will be. Growing up in South Central Los Angeles, people pressured me about why did I become a prosecutor? I did it because I want to do the right thing, and I think prosecutors have discretion to do the right thing. And so as a judge, I will continue that, doing the right thing, being able to sleep at night, not doing anything that would affect someone's life in a negative way, but just being fair and just. And that's basically how I will deal with any kind of pressures. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Erica, Wiley, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I think I have it. Thank you. As a deputy public defender for 25 years, I am very familiar with the position of being the minority view in the courtroom. And so I don't think that pressures from public opinion, media, or outside entities is something that will be a challenge for me. My goal and my work has been to achieve a goal, to do good work on behalf of individuals. But I think that the role of a judge is more expansive than that. It's to do justice in a courtroom. And again, you just cannot be influenced by outside issues. I think all of us here recognize that we want to stand in front of judges who take every case, case by case, who close the doors to outside influences, and we respect judges who do that. And I want to be that kind of judge, and will be that kind of judge. So I don't think that this kind of issue will be a struggle for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica Wiley. Next is Stephen Knapp. And question, how do you handle pressure from public opinion, the media, or political entities when making decisions?
Yes, I've had experience making decisions that were scrutinized publicly. I've done investigations that are public, gave advice that is impactful. There's two components to that. First is part of making the right decision is actually hearing the advocacy and positions from all sides. That is part of the pressure. The skill is trying to figure out what is a relevant issues to consider in making decisions. The second part of what guides me is that I've been a public servant for over 21 years. I tell a lot of law clerks and students and young attorneys that I mentor that as a public servant, your job is open. Anyone could come and check on you and see what you've done. And that is the beauty of my job. Anyone could come to court and see what I do on a daily basis. And in my experience in making decisions where I was second guessed and doubted, I knew that down the road, when someone looks back on it, they could see the record and know that I made the decision based on the facts and fairness and considering the issues at hand.
Thank you. Georgia Puerta.
I think for me, it takes courage. Being a judge is not for cowards. We do have some cowards sitting on the bench. That's why we have some of the laws that we have that the community is dissatisfied with. But it takes courage to do what's right. And to build that courage, at least for me, is that I realize that I have to be well informed. I have to know the law. I have to know the facts of the case. I have to know what I'm doing. Because I can tell you as a prosecutor, I've tried to persuade judges to go along with my side. Just like the defense attorneys tried to persuade judges to go along with their side. But what I admire about judges the most, some of them, are the courageous ones. The ones who can look at me and say, Ms. Huerta, I hear your argument, but no. And this is the reason why. And when they lay out a well-informed legal reason, all I can do is say, thank you, Your Honor, and sit down. So we have to be courageous as judges. It will not be an easy job if you really want to serve the community. And by serving the community, I just don't mean the victims and people like you sitting here in the audience, but also the people who have been accused, because they're part of our community as well, whether we like it or not. Thank you.
Thank you. Tracy Blount, the same question. How do you handle pressure from public opinion, the media, or political entities from making decisions?
The first thing I thought of was when I had to do jury duty. I was in law school, so I hadn't practiced law yet, really. I was learning about it. And I think we all understand that what goes on in a courtroom is altogether different from what is reported or what the perception is or what, may be told to the public. And so that's what's going to dictate what we do. We have to look at what's in front of us and not what's outside. And as everyone has said so far, it's about following the law based on the facts that are before you. Making the decisions is probably not going to be easy all the time, but it really has nothing to do with what's reported or what's outside those doors of the courtroom. So I don't see that, that would be a struggle. I think making decisions can be a struggle for some judges, but not because of pressures, or it shouldn't be because of pressures from the public or the media or anything like that. And that's what is foremost in my mind as to what I would have to do and will do.
All right, thank you very much. So George Turner, and the question is, how do you handle pressure from public opinion, the media, or political entities when making decisions? And you have 90 seconds.
Absolutely. So I have been a public defender for the last 15 years. It is interesting to hear even discussions about pressure and outside opinions. You don't decide to become a public defender in Los Angeles County because you want to, fall in with public opinion, or because you are going to succumb to outside pressures. Many of the clients who I've represented are people who are, needless to say, very unpopular. But what I've learned in my job is that, you have to do what you are tasked to do. That is, be knowledgeable about the law, that is, be aware of the facts in each individual case thoroughly, and that is to be, in at least as a public defender, to be a zealous advocate for your client. And that requires that you know all aspects of what's going on in the courtroom. You know, it's very interesting when you consider outside pressure, because there's so much stuff happening inside the courtroom with personalities, with facts, with everything, that what's happening outside of the courtroom, you don't really have a whole lot of time to worry about such a thing, right? So it's an interesting concept, because I don't think that on any individual case, whether it be a bench officer or a lawyer or even a client, is worried about outside pressure. They're much more worried about what's happening right there in the courtroom.
Okay, thank you very much. So next is Nancy Perlman, and Nancy, as a potential Los Angeles County Community College Board of Trustees, did I get it correct that time?
No, sorry.
Okay,
It's Los Angeles Community College
Community-
District, covers 34 cities, half the county.
I have this question for you as a potential trustee. What steps will you